I don't really like necessarily the word discipline in a company, but it makes us easy to do that using this language. So for example, one of our core actions is say no to gossip. Now we talk about AI, I don't think they're scared because they're more used to it. We made it a requirement about 2 or 3 years ago that everybody in the company figure out how to utilize AI within their position. I do believe that if people don't learn to use it within their positions, then people will find people who have learned to use it. So it's not something you can just opt out of anymore.
Welcome to another episode of eCoffee with Experts. I'm your host, Austin Willman. I'm here today with Natalee Allen. She's the CEO and visionary of ClearBags. We have a lot to talk about. Being a family-owned business for generations and with over 5,000 products and a strong company core culture. Natalee, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Maybe kick us off with what it's like to work with. Many businesses say we're like a family here, but your business actually is a family. What's it like to work with, your families, your parents? Your dad retired not too long ago, but what's it like working with your family members?
Well, a family business culture is definitely different, and every business does it differently. We fortunately have figured out how to do it very well. I love working with my siblings. I have actually 6 siblings, but 3 of them work within the company. So yes, I do have 3 brothers who sort of work for me, but it goes really well. They're wonderful, and it's a pleasure and really a joy to be able to share this journey with them. I love it.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I'm also close with my siblings. We're all over the country. The siblings who work with you, your brothers, are they near Tennessee or they work remote?
One of them is in Tennessee, and I work with him every day. And the other 2 are in different areas. One is not as involved as he used to be. He used to be in Tennessee, but he moved. And the other one is currently in Utah, but I think he's going to move to Tennessee this year. So we'll see.
And you'll welcome him back with open arms.
Absolutely.
As the CEO and visionary, you oversee a lot of stuff. ClearBags has over 5,000 different products and you ship to over 115 different countries. What would you say is kind of in your position, what's the main logistical and operational challenge that you're up against these days?
Well, last year with the tariff craziness, that definitely provided us a lot of obstacles. Felt like an obstacle course last year for sure, going through which country is this tariff, because we work with about 65 different factories in 10 different countries. So the tariff goes up in this country, we could buy those products in this factory over here, then the tariff goes up over there. So it was a kind of a balancing act for sure, trying to figure that out. It's settled down, so we're hoping that it kind of stays this way for a little while, but it did allow us to find some new partners too and discover some new things. And so we'll continue to do that. But yes, that's definitely always a little bit of a challenge.
Definitely. I would like to say it's unique, but that sort of international trade and commerce, it's constantly changing. So I would say it's probably not unique. It's just amplified maybe last year that you had to deal with that sort of, extenuating circumstances. But talk to me a little bit about partnerships. Like what do you look for when you're vetting a new partner? Let's say it's a manufacturing partner, some other strategic partnership. Like what are the things that you look for?
So with our products, we design our products and then we search out a factory, a partner, a vendor who can work with us to make them come to life. So a lot of times we can't find one exactly what we want. So we find one pretty close and then we work with them and help them kind of level up to provide what we want. We have some good partnerships that have developed and that we've had for decades, that we've helped them, they've helped us, they bring us things that can help us level up, and we do the same, that we're really truly good partners. Then there's others that we simply, we have a business relationship with, and yeah, they can do it great. We'll do that. But our core partners, they kind of become part of our family as well because we work with them so intimately. We visit them, we see them a lot, that kind of thing.
Yeah, Ciro, do you have them we're gonna get into your company values, your guiding principles. I'm sure you have a specific name for them and you can correct me. But I guess what I'm asking is, would you expect your partners to kind of follow those core principles, or is that internal only, and then, if the partner can fulfill, then that's fine?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't answer your question. Yes, we do to an aspect. So we do look for that. We look for companies that align with our core values. We don't expect them to have the same ones,
Mhm.
but we do look for people that we feel aligned with, that we're looking for good and we're looking to better each other. By our
Mm.
partnership, we can produce things that are better and for both sides, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So yes, definitely. I go and I visit these different factories and these different partners, and I do pay attention to the things that are on their walls and how they're treating their
Yeah.
employees, and those things matter to us. And after those visits, I kind of go, I want to do more business with that one. I want to do less business with that one. We
Mm.
definitely do make those kinds of decisions.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you can't expect them to align like 100% 10 out of 10, but like you said, especially when you meet them in person, you can start to get a feel for what their actions are, not just what they say, but actually what they do. I'm curious if you've been vetting a new partner and you've found maybe like a red flag that was just like, these guys can definitely produce, but we're not going to work with them. Do you have an experience that you could share?
There was a facility that we visited one time. I won't say what country it was in, but it was a third world country, and we walked into their factory and we saw the way that they were storing their supplies and things like that, and I said, "Nope, this isn't okay. It's not.
Mm,
We're not. We either like they're so far, sometimes we can work with them, but I mean,
yeah.
I saw name brand products in the United States, and I don't think that they would want their products that way, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
People would be like, no, I don't know. I have to be careful what I say exactly for that because I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But there was a specific company brand that had their name all over this, and it made me
Mm,
think, I don't want to buy that brand anymore. So
wow.
yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't want our products associated with that, if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Yeah, of course, that makes sense. I mean, you have standards, and that I don't even want to say it trickles down to the employees, because it really doesn't trickle down by accident. It's in your core foundation. Your 5 core values for the company: conscientious, collaborative, committed, capable, and caring. And then underneath those, there are 5 kind of subcategories, or almost like guiding principles. Out of those, I guess, do you have like a favorite? I know it's you're not supposed to pick favorite children, but if these were, kind of the babies that run your company, do you have a favorite or one that you call on often?
Do. Yes, we do have 5 core values, and then we have 5 core actions that support each of those values. So, for example, what
Mm,
does it mean to be conscientious? Because if you just say, "Hey, we're conscientious," how do all of the employees understand what does that really mean? Well, it means that you do these 5 actions. You do the right thing. You
mm,
speak with appropriate encouraging language, those types of things. So that's why we have so many, and then, so we have 25 overall, and then we have one bonus one, 26. And that's my favorite. It's enjoy your life. And
mm,
my father, the founder of ClearBags, it's something that he's always said. It's kind of his motto. People know him for that, is enjoy your life. And it's
mm.
always a reminder that, this life is to be enjoyed. So do these things, try to add good in the world, be caring, be committed, do these things, but make sure you're also enjoying life. And actually, hopefully, these things help you enjoy that life even more. So that's my favorite.
Yeah, the enjoy your life one. And talk about a legacy. If people know your father for that phrase, and then his company also reflects that, that's just the amplification of, yeah, of a mindset, of values, of legacy. So with these being, I really like that you're basically spelling out actions, because you're right, it can be difficult if I were to say be committed. someone's like, okay, like, what does that mean? It means a bunch of different things in a bunch of different scenarios. How do you go about, I guess, maybe discipline is not the right word, but how do you enforce these, particularly when you have employees or brothers that are getting off track? I'm sure your brothers are like very on track all the time and they abide by these, but yeah. Do you have any sort of guardrails or how do you approach people who aren't necessarily fitting in?
Well, it's actually great to have them because it becomes kind of the language of our company. So,
Mm,
we have one that we highlight every week in our meetings and everything. And so because there's 26, we go through them about every 6 months.
mhm,
Um, but it makes it easy. I don't really like the necessarily the word discipline in a company, but if
right.
that's I don't know, I'm trying to think of a better word, but it makes us easy to do that using this language. So for example, one of our core actions is say no to gossip. So
Mhm,
I can say, at our company, we say no to gossip. So walk me through what
mm,
you were doing in this situation and explain to me why that was okay. It doesn't really seem to align with our core actions. So it's actually provides a really easy way to talk about anything like that, if that makes sense.
yeah, I really like the approach at our company. This is, we do this or we don't do this. And it seems like, just based on our brief conversation, it seems like you would frame things in a positive sense, as in, we do this, especially if you're talking about a scenario where that action was not followed. We do this as opposed to we don't do this, more of like a finger wag. Have you seen employees or even managers really embrace these and expand and kind of make them their own, take them to the next level? I mean, I guess I'm asking for like a shining star example that's not you.
We have a lot of shining stars in our company. Yes,
Awesome.
definitely. I love it when I hear people using these phrases that we've started to memorize in
Hmm.
their common vernacular. That happens a lot. One story comes to mind. So one of them is we speak with appropriate and encouraging language, which is a little different at our company than maybe in some companies. At our company, you won't hear a swear word because that's not really encouraging. That's not really something that is very encouraging. You just don't hear that. And there was one employee that shared this to me. She said, when people come in and they're new, oftentimes when they're brand new, you'll start to hear some of those words come out and everyone will kind of look at them and stare at them a little bit and they get it real fast that, oh, that's not the way we talk here. And
Mm,
no one even has to really say anything. It's just a look and they stop
mm,
because it's just not appreciated here. We don't put
hmm.
people down and we don't bring that kind of language into our company. So that I would say is pretty unique about our company in general. It's becoming more and more unique, but it's not something that we ever said, "Hey, there's no swear words allowed."
Hmm.
It's just that it's been created by these values.
Mm. Yeah, it's almost an implied code of conduct, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you have? I understand that obviously you have offshore suppliers, manufacturers. Do you have like a remote team, or is pretty much everyone in the U.S.? Like, is everyone at the home office in Tennessee, or are they around the U.S.? Like, is it a remote, hybrid, or in person culture?
So it's hybrid. We
Okay.
have our headquarter offices are in Tennessee, West Tennessee, and we have a warehouse here as well. And then we have another warehouse in Las Vegas. And then we do have a remote satellite office in California.
Mm,
But everybody works in office and at home, hybrid schedule, part time, if they're choosing. I mean, they can work in the office all the time if they want, but they can work part time from home if they want to. But we
mm,
do require that people come into the office 40% of the time. We've found that it just works better for us that way.
yeah. I mean, yeah, 2 days out of the week to be together, probably to go over the core values or the core actions that go along with those. I mean, what a way to reinforce culture. There's no better way other than being in person. So then, secondary question: do you guys do like a annual offsite or something where like a company retreat or team building or anything like that?
We don't do an annual one like that. No, we do have a lot of different. opportunities for various people to get together throughout the year, depending on what they do within the company. A lot of trade shows that we do. So we'll bring people from one office and another office together to a trade show, things like that. But
Mhm.
we don't do a single everyone together every year. We haven't done that.
Cool.
Not yet.
You just hired a head of HR, not head of HR, sorry, head of AI or chief of AI.
Yes.
What's the role?
Yeah. Director of AI. Yes, we did
Director of
last
AI.
year.
Tell me what the point was where you were like, "Oh, this is going to be really important and we need to bring somebody on." Like, did you have a an aha moment?
Well, we've been utilizing AI within ClearBags for years now in many different ways. We've made it a requirement. We made it a requirement about 2 or 3 years ago that
Mm,
everybody in the company figure out how to utilize AI within their position.
mm,
And we've learned a lot from that. But last year, we kind of felt like it was time to level that up even more. And so we hired a director of AI, and it's his job to help us do that. So,
mm,
one of the things that he's working on is helping each person individually utilize the AI tools that are available in a safe way to help them be more efficient in their job. So that will take a while to go through everyone in the company, but he's focused on different people and different departments as he goes through. And so he's continually keeping up on all of the tools that are available as they're changing every day. And then
mhm.
thinking, which department can use this? How can this help? That kind of thing. So he's helping a lot that way. I can't even remember your question. I'm not very good at this. Did I
I
answer
was
it?
just I mean, it was just like, was there a specific moment where you're like, "Ah, you know what'd be cool? A director of AI."
I don't know that it was a moment. I guess it was. Guess we had that thought one day, but I don't remember that specific moment. But
Mm,
it's just something that we've tried to incorporate more and more each month
mm,
for the last probably 3 years, trying to just figure out how can we do this a little bit better? How can we learn a little bit more? Because it's not going away. So we need to embrace it and learn as much as we can and because we can't just, ignore it. That's not gonna work. I do know that. So,
yeah.
we better
Yeah.
figure out how to do it safely as best as possible and effectively.
What do you mean figure out how to do it safely?
AI, I don't think it's a secret that it's dangerous. It's exciting, but it's also dangerous. There's a lot of, you open yourself up to a lot of, cybersecurity issues if you're utilizing, different LLMs and you're not careful or, things like that. So just make sure that we're continually up on that. Cybersecurity is a big deal for us being
For
an
sure.
online company. I
Mhm.
mean, it's a big deal for any company, but selling
Yeah.
online, we're constantly trying to figure out how to be more safer, even better. Do we have
Mhm.
the best stuff? Do we, you know, that kind of thing. So,
I mean, there's over 100 team members at ClearBags. If everyone has the initiative to implement AI to help make their role more efficient, make their job easier or more productive, you're right. It does open up a lot of opportunity, but also a lot of risk. So do you have specific, I mean, is it director of AI hosting like safety trainings or is it more, yeah, it sounds like he is. Tell me a little bit more.
yeah, he started doing some safety awareness information. We've done cybersecurity safety trainings for a while now. We do that monthly. We
Hmm,
have a different person in charge of our cybersecurity, and he sends out safety trainings every month that everyone needs to take. Always comes up with new information that I hadn't thought of that yet. It's
mhm.
just you think you know, and as soon as you think you know, you are wrong
Yeah.
because there's always something new that we need to be aware of. So we do that, yes, monthly trainings on both
Yeah.
cybersecurity and AI awareness, things like that. Yes, settings on your computer, all that stuff. Yeah.
Mm, mm. So, in order to get everybody to start using AI, since you're several years into it, I would imagine that everyone's kind of jumped on the boat and, there's everyone's on the same page in terms of I'm using this because not because I'm trying to replace myself, but because it can make me more efficient and actually more valuable and indispensable to the company. Do you I mean, what are some examples in your particular business? And then I'll ask the same thing for your particular role where AI has allowed you to make kind of leaps and bounds forward or solved a big challenge that you'd been dealing with for years?
AI has helped us a lot in marketing. We have 5,000 products that we need to photograph and update. One of the big projects we're doing right now is how do we utilize AI to help in that? So, we
Hmm.
take our pictures but continually new backgrounds for seasonal pictures, that kind of thing. I mean, we could do photo shoots and it takes hours and hours and hours. And now with AI, it can take minutes instead of hours. So it doesn't mean that it replaces our designers. It means they can do so much more.
Hmm.
That's a one simple way. Deep research is
Hmm.
one that's very helpful. We use it a lot, and you said also, how do I use it too? We've used it a number of times to help us answer questions and help us with strategy
Hmm.
when we're trying to figure out should we go this way or this way. We do some deep research and find, okay, after understanding all of this, it makes the decision a lot easier and a lot more apparent. We just simple things like chatbots, even
Hmm.
creating our own projects
Hmm.
within the LLMs that allow different people to contribute, creating searching systems so that, for example, you can put your employee handbook into create your own bot for your employee handbook. That way, it's super quick and searchable. And you don't have to look through the table of contents and figure all that out. I mean, it just saves you time. So it's just all
Yeah.
of those little time saver things that add up. But I would say, as far as bigger impact things, those deep research things, that's really
Hmm.
helped us a lot with making strategic decisions.
Hmm. Yeah, competitor analysis. I've seen a lot of companies will plug in multiple competitor websites and say what's our unique positioning, what are these guys not covering, and then do some research of like what the market is demanding and finding out a unique position and then create a different go to market strategy and all of that. Yeah, you're right, can be expedited. And it's funny that you say the employee handbook put into a chat. I had the same idea for our business development department. And so over kind of the last 2-ish months, we've been outlining a a BD handbook, like a business development handbook that has all the language that we use, all the acronyms, all the SOPs, the approach, everything, scripts even. And I've uploaded that into a custom GPT, and I've been testing it. Like, we have a pretty small team in terms of business development. We have a massive team in terms of operations, like over 400 people, but relatively small in terms of business development. And it was challenging at first to get the outputs that I wanted. Are you a part of, let's say, training the GPT in that sense, or is that kind of the director of AI's job? Or
That's his job. No,
okay,
I'm not a part of the training. I
yeah,
just get the benefits.
yeah, right. So tell me a little bit about as CEO and honestly like chief visionary of the company, what's the key initiative that you're looking at accomplishing or implementing in the next 12 to 36 months that will, I don't know if I want to say fundamentally shift how you do business, but like, yeah, what's the key thing that you're looking at implementing in the next 3 years?
I don't know if it's exactly one key thing.
Mm.
It's a lot of little things. Trying to think what's the biggest one. So with SEO and SEM and AI, it feels like there's a lot of things that are changing. I'm sure you know all about this, right? How people find products online is constantly changing, and that's a big deal for us because
Mhm.
that's what we do, sell products online. So we're constantly looking at that. I would say that's a really big thing that's going to shift the way we do business over the next few years as we're seeing more AI come in. We're watching that. We're trying to figure out how to work with that. But I wouldn't be able to tell you what that exactly is because I don't think
Mhm.
any of us know exactly. But
Yeah.
that's definitely a main focus for how we're shifting business. Every month we talk about that and try to figure out new strategies this month because everything's changed. What about
Mhm.
next month? Everything's changed. It
Right.
feels that way anyway. I don't know if it feels that way
Oh, yeah.
for your viewers, but
Oh, yeah.
it's a new rule book every month.
Mhm.
And so that's constantly shifting. And I think it's going to look a lot different in 3 years.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Constantly shifting, evolving, and figuring out how to roll and tumble with the algorithms and each new
yes.
algorithm that comes out. What do they prefer? What do they like? How is consumer behavior changing? And how do we leverage the algorithm to match the consumer behavior and position ourselves where we can get ahead of the competition? And hopefully we do it before they do. Because as soon as the competition figures it out, what we're doing, then the algorithm changes again. It's a vicious cycle. And then the consumers change the way that they search because they're annoyed with ads or, whatever happens. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's it's a lot. And yeah.
And figuring out how many resources to allocate for this new change, because you can put a whole bunch of money into this and then it's obsolete in 2 months. And then you do that again. And then you do that again. You're going to obsolete yourself right out of business. So you have to
Yeah.
figure out how to manage that as well.
Yeah.
It's challenging.
What's been the over the, 30 what, 3 years, 30 some years that you've been in business, specifically when you've been at the helm as CEO, what has been, I guess, the main marketing channel or like the main acquisition channel for new customers? Like the tried and true.
I mean, for so many years, it was just, Google. Google searches, they would find us, and understanding SEO and SEM, how to use that and, get people to your site. We started out, the main way was word of mouth. And
Mhm.
that's how it started out. And then it, shifted to search engines. And I think that's still the main way, but I
Mhm.
think we're seeing that shift, obviously. But I do believe that word of mouth has come back a lot. It's kind of made that come back around because now with all the influencers and social media and all of that, it's kind of made that comeback. So now you're having to utilize the search engines and the word of mouth and the social media and the influencers and the collaborations and as well as AI. So
Mm.
it's a lot of things.
Yeah. Yeah. It can be very difficult because you don't want to spread yourself too thin, but obviously there's some capacity to experiment and try new things. You don't want to get left behind on trends while also maintaining and ensuring that you're getting the most out of your main breadwinner channels. So as we kind of wrap up our time here, is there, a lot of our listeners are founders, entrepreneurs, and they're growing a team. They're realizing this big wave of AI. There's some volatility, I guess, in an employee sentiment. Am I going to be replaced, especially working at a digital first company? What would you tell founders as a fellow leader how to embrace the change and how to really build a strong culture in the post AI era?
Well, one is get a director of AI and learn what you don't know. I
Mhm.
mean, because if you're basing those decisions off of what you know,
Mm.
then you're behind because you can't know it all and you can't spend the time to learn it all. We have someone full time trying to learn all that they can about AI and what tools and then how to figure out how to integrate those into our company. And then we're trying to do that, the integration, and also help the employees embrace it as well. It is a challenge. When we first initiated that first challenge a few years ago, you're required to use AI in your jobs. I mean, that was people are, how? How
Yeah.
do I do that?
Yeah.
That's scary. Now we talk about AI. I don't think they're scared because
Mhm.
they're more used to it, right? So in the beginning, could be scary.
Mm.
Scary for the leaders, scary for the employees, but you're going to have to embrace it sooner rather than later. So sooner is better than later. I do believe that if people don't learn to use it within their positions, then people will find people who have learned to use it. So it's not something you can just opt out of anymore. It's just, I mean, if we were to hire someone and they said, "Well, I'll be really good at this position, but I don't use the internet," just so you know, you wouldn't hire them.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm opposed to the internet. Well, that's not going to work in our world. So, and that seems crazy, like you laughed, right? But I think we need to look at AI that way. Like
Mm.
that's how crazy it is. If people are saying, "I'm not going to use it," then you just can't. And
Yeah.
if you don't like it, it's just, and it's not, this almost sounds like I'm this huge advocate for AI. It's not that. It's just that I understand that we have to be.
Mhm.
Otherwise, we will be obsolete. We have to embrace it and learn about it. It's dangerous and it's wonderful, just like the internet. So we have to work
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. I love that. And I love the sentiment, especially as a CEO, if you're not on board, nobody else is going to be on board. So by you being the spokesperson and the change maker, it really does help other people embrace it if they see their leader saying, "Hey, this is okay. It's good. Let's move forward with this." So thank you for that insight. I know it's valuable to me. Natalee Allen, where can we find more about you and about ClearBags? How can we get in touch?
Well, our website's clearbags.com. If you want to see what we do, you can find me on LinkedIn, Natalee Allen. Try to post there at least once or twice a week. Yeah, but you can find us on all the social media channels, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Not yet. TikTok's coming this
Mm,
year. YouTube, Pinterest,
yeah.
LinkedIn, those ones. But yeah, thank you. Thanks so much
Wow.
for having me on here. I
Yeah.
hope something that I said was helpful to someone.
It was helpful for me. If no one else, at least you had an impact on me today, Natalie. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it, and we will talk to you next time.
Thank you, Austin.